Hello, everyone. I know a lot of times as Nigerians, we move away from a lot of issues. Things happen, and then because there are so many things that keep happening, we move on, we move away. But our capacity to move away is also a problem that we have because many of these things keep happening, and then the moment they come to our attention or they happen to us, we then begin to see these things as these things are strange. But if you look at them, there's a pattern, and this pattern, are sort of like you could see the pattern, and they repeated patterns, and in a way also because you don't do anything about it, we constantly give enabling environment for such things to be done, for more and more atrocities to be done. In terms of this whole conversation about a coup that, first of all, military said there was no coup. Tinubu's illegitimate administration said there was no coup. And then all of a sudden, people are being tried for coup. So how are you trying for people for coup that you said did not happen? That for me, that is the beginning of something. And for me, was there a coup, or is it just usual, this administration looking for everything to be able to gain sympathy, to be able to be looked upon as victims? Oh, people are doing them this and this. In fact, they are not focusing on the fact that they have failed and failed so woefully that citizens really do not want them. So in any way that they are able to gather sympathy, they will do whatever it is to get there. This I'm talking also, and Sahara Reporters is reporting here. He said detained soldiers accused of coup plot against Tinubu, losing sight, developing lung diseases, trauma, wives alleged, torture. Because you find out that there are families left that they are going through so much, and I think there are some reports also that their bank accounts were frozen or things like that. These families are not getting the adequate care they're supposed to get. The breadwinners have been, are detained. What then happens to all of them? But let's look at this particular report on June 7, 2026. Sahara Reporters say the wives allege that the prolonged deprivation and harsh detention conditions have triggered serious medical problems among the detainees. These are detainees that have been going through a lot. As a military person in Nigeria, with all of the things that happen, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, are also some of the things that really can affect, some of these military people. And a good number of them do not get the adequate care that they're supposed to get. And sometimes they have prolonged exposure to all the military activities that go on. In a lot of military, you always find that people are taken away after spending certain prolonged time. They're taken away to recover before being sent back. But you find that in Nigeria, sometimes people are in the battlefield for a very long time. And of course, there's no how these things are not going to affect them psychologically. But here, fresh allegations of torture, starvation, and inhumane treatment have emerged from the families of some of the 36 military personnel currently facing court-martial over an alleged plot to overthrow Bola Tinubu's government, illegitimate government, by the way. I don't even believe there's any coup. I think those people are just looking for sympathy, someone to just sympathize with them that is failing and looking for where they can get cheap sympathy. That's just the way I will put it. But then, no matter whatever it is that you accuse people, let there be fair trial, let there be open trial. Go out there, try them. But everybody, no matter what crime anybody is accused for, people are free from torture. I think it's one of those absolute rights that whatever it is, you understand, whatever it is, you can't torture someone. So there are few rights like that. When it comes to right, the other rights are not absolute rights. We talk about rights to life, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and all of that. Because you can do something that takes away that right from you. For example, if somebody commits a crime and the person is incarcerated, while you are in incarceration, that right is taken away from you. That your right, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, because you're kept somewhere. If somebody commits a crime like murder and the person is sentenced to death, that's a freedom to life. It's also taken away from you because of what you've committed. But in the case of torture, there's nothing that someone does that right is taken away from that person. So the fact, if there's an accusation, there's allegation against, the state, the Nigerian state, of torturing these 36 military personnel that had been, accused of trying to plot coup against Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former governor of Lagos State, then that's a serious crime against humanity there. That's the state, the Nigerian state, in its own way, is committing serious crime based on this allegation. The wives of some of the detainees claiming that their husbands are developing a severe health complications after months in custody. The women who spoke to Sahara reporters during separate interviews on Sunday alleged that prolonged starvation, poor feeding, confinement in an underground detention facility, and repeated exposure to suffocating conditions have led many of the detained soldiers and officers and soldiers battling deteriorating eyesight, high blood pressure, respiratory illnesses, and psychological trauma. According to one of the wives, the physical condition of her husband has drastically deteriorated since his arrest. Physically, he is no longer the person we knew before his arrest. He has lost a lot of weight because of poor feeding and starvation. My husband was among the first 16 officers arrested. They were starved for about 4 days. During that period, they were given only water to drink, just enough to keep them alive. They survived on water alone for 4 consecutive days. This is real torture, and I think there is in Nigeria, it's a signatory to a lot of declaration that definitely does not allow this whole torturing in the manner that it is being done. The wives allege that the prolonged deprivation and harsh detention conditions have triggered serious medical problems among the detainees. And you could also see things like forced what do they call confession and stuff like that. Is that what they're trying to do? This is really unbecoming. You will sit down and think that terrorists are being when terrorists are caught that have really done a lot of things against the Nigerian state and against people, the Nigerian state sort of like rehabilitate them and put them back into society. Some of them will hear things like them being taken into military to be there, and then see the way you are treating people whom you are accusing of something that you said never happened. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. The Nigerian state had said, the military and all of that has said there were no coup that happened. And now you are trying people for a coup, a phantom coup that never happened. Because you came out to tell us that there was no coup. When military were saying, when there were reports in the newspaper that there were coup, you said there were no coup. And this, we must not continue to allow this kind of things that happen, because today it is this military personnel that are going through this. Then tomorrow, what about the rest of us? And what kind of message, what kind of psychological effect does this have on other military personnel who are out there putting their all on the line, fighting and dying for Nigeria, to see their colleagues being treated in this manner that they have been treated? Most of them now have heart-related problems and lung complications. My husband has developed high blood pressure, while some others have developed enlarged lungs, one of the women said. She alleged that the illnesses stem from repeated incidents in which officials deliberately cut off ventilation to punish the detainees inside the underground facilities where they are being held. The detention facility is underground, and the only ventilation they have comes from central air conditioning system. Whenever they want to punish them, they switch off the electricity and ventilation and leave them there for a long period. They begin to cough, choke, and gasp for air because there are no windows and no other source of fresh air. They breathe heavily and struggle for air until they start screaming. Many of them have developed lung-related illnesses because of these repeated incidents. The women also allege that prolonged confinement in darkness and underground condition has damaged the eyesight of many detainees. Most of them are now using glasses because they can no longer see properly. One of the wives said they cannot look directly at sunlight anymore. Their eyes are extremely sensitive. They struggle to read, and their vision has become blurry. Well, there's a whole lot that is said in here, but we must say that it is important for the Nigerian government to be very, very transparent in the way that they deal with this. And for all the military officials who are part of that court martial, all of that, to know that, hey, today, these people might be victims. Tomorrow, you might also be the ones that will become the victims. And that's why injustice and atrocities are never things that anyone should partake in or be part of. In everything that you're doing, ensure that there is free trial, and let justice take its course. Let there be transparency and accountability. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.